On today's Saturday news, Bischoff blasts Punk again.
Got new title belt designs unveiled on SmackDown.
We've got stipulation updates on Brock Lesnar vs Cody Rhodes 3.
And WWE are unifying some titles. Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? But let's get right into it. First up, what have we got, Mr. Gareth?
We've got some Bischoff stuff because Bischoff does not like CM Punk. That is evident. We've seen that a couple of times over the last couple of years, really, at this point.
These days, really, does he, Mr. Bischoff?
No, just gets on these podcasts and shouts at people and other podcasts and every podcast. He doesn't like anything. So he's been talking about CM Punk, obviously, because everyone has over the last, 2 years. And he is now... Well, he said that it's hard to really kind of go into this because he said that CM Punk is the biggest financial flop in wrestling history, and I feel like that's like a huge headline thing. But in this podcast, it's called the Strictly Business podcast, he said that he's already mentioned that. He already said that in the past, so none of he's just slipped that into one of his many rants over the last couple of years, and we've just missed it. But yeah, he said that, and that's a huge statement, but he backs that statement up by saying that he's not a star because of the fact that he's not moving tickets for Collision, and when it was announced that he was returning, it didn't really add to the sales for All In that's happening at London, because I think that's on 65,000 tickets or so, and they've sold an extra 700 or something like that Bischoff said. I don't know if they're the exact facts, but that's what he said. And he just said that in general he doesn't feel like the rabid fan base that CM Punk once had is quite there, in the way it used to be. He said it's diminished substantially, are the words he used, and he just generally buried him really in this podcast. He was not happy about Mr. CM Punk and just said that he's overrated. It's something that he's been saying for a while, that he is overrated. He is the biggest, or he said he was going to be the biggest financial flop in wrestling history, and he said that every single week, every single minute of every day, going forward now, is being proven right by what's happening with Mr. Philip Chip Magnet. I was going to call him Phil Levesque then. My mind did something very strange there. Philip Chip Magnet Brooks is his name.
So yeah,
yeah, very strange. Say Bischoff broke me. I know, what a world. But yeah, that's what he feels about Mr. Chip Magnet.
Yeah, it's quite the statement from Mr. Bischoff, I will say. I think it's very much proven that Punk is most definitely a draw, or at least has been in the past. I think you can definitely look at quite a lot of AEW numbers and go, well, yes, he was definitely a draw, but now this time round does feel a little bit different. Obviously, even in the United Center in Chicago, he didn't shift that many more tickets when he was announced, but then maybe people already just expected him to be on that show anyway, and so had already bought their tickets. But it's still not sold out, that show, and it's not done a lot to the other Collision tapings tickets wise. Yet to be seen what happens with the ratings, and the match announcement that Tony Khan did on Dynamite this week didn't get that much excitement. So I still have a lot of faith in CM Punk to when he actually gets on a microphone, he'll be able to turn this around and start putting butts back in seats. But right now it is looking a little bit iffy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's as soon as he gets in front of a camera, I think things may change a little bit, because right now it's an unknown. We've got that bad taste in our mouths with everything that happened at Brawl Out, and I think a lot of people feel that way. Whereas when you see him again, oh, he's magnetic, that man, isn't he? So it might be hard to not put some money down and buy some seats. But it is also worth noting, I kind of glossed over it in this, that Bischoff said that he thinks they just shouldn't bring Punk to the UK, and they should just try and sell 70,000 tickets without him as a statement of, we don't need Punk, which is silly. I want to see CM Punk, so shut up, Bischoff.
I know, yeah, it is bad. I think Bischoff's just a little bit salty that Tony Khan's doing a lot better than he did. But anyway, over to WWE now. And we've gotten more new championship belts. Asuka came out and she was presented with the new WWE Women's Championship by Adam Pearce on SmackDown last night. And it looks a hell of a lot like Roman's belt, just with the white strap. And fine. At least it's got rid of the Raw and SmackDown weirdness with the women's championships. Got rid of the color-coded thing, and I assume they're going to be doing the same with Rhea Ripley's belt on Raw as well, and probably making that the Women's Universal Championship or something, which is something they really should have just done a long time ago, and it would have got around all of the really awkward belt swap moments and the stupid drafting a Raw championship to SmackDown and things like that. But there is a little bit more to this as well, because after she got the belt, and she was very excited about it, obviously, Charlotte Flair returned for the first time since WrestleMania 39 and demanded a match against Asuka. Asuka eventually accepted, and then they had a bit of a scrap, leading with Charlotte standing tall. But that match is going down on SmackDown on June the 30th, which is the day before Money in the Bank, which is the SmackDown that's in London, in old Blighty. So yeah, brand new women's championship. Well, let us know down in the comments what you think about this. Always intrigued as to like new belt chatter and what everyone thinks of it. But what do you think, Gareth?
It's strange, isn't it? Because I agree with you. I do like the world championship side of it. They're just taking away the Raw SmackDown stuff because it's just silly and it diminishes the titles for me. It just doesn't sound as impressive. But just, it's not that hard. Just make something that looks different. I don't know. I don't like it. Just. It doesn't, for me, I think what they've gone for is, it's equality. Yeah, great. They've both got the same looking titles. They're both equals. I get that. But it just makes everything feel very bland and very plain, very samey, and I'm just not into it. And I know it's coming from a guy who watches UFC and like they have the exact same belt across the board, but I don't know. I like something a bit different and creative in my wrestling, and it just doesn't set my heart on fire looking at that belt right now. But
this basic design for the belt as well has been here a really, really long time now. It's just been like a change on a theme for quite a long time.
And for the women's side as well, because they've obviously had that belt since, what was it, WrestleMania 32?
Yeah.
So like 7 years now you've had that belt, which is crazy. So I'm excited for Asuka Flair. I know we've seen it a lot over the years, but it tends to always be really good, and in front of a UK crowd. Yeah, exactly. Oh, the fear. It's back. But speaking of fear being back, I'm scared for Cody Rhodes because he's got to fight Brock Lesnar again at SummerSlam. That's how it's looking right now. That's according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter in his latest edition. He said that match is looking like it's going to be one of the main events, plural, because, they're going to do loads of different main events again at SummerSlam from the sounds of it. It's probably going to be a card full of them from top to bottom. Every single match will be a main event. Why not? We don't care anymore, do we?
Call it main event SummerSlam.
Exactly.
Everybody gets the main event.
Jey Uso's face is just the poster boy. So that's what they're going to do. But Dave Meltzer has also said that there's been talk of stipulations being added to this match because obviously you're at the end of this epic trilogy and they need something special to send it on home. And obviously it was mentioned, I think, earlier this week, I believe, that Cody Rhodes had tried to pitch a dog collar match. I think that was like a dog collar match. Loves a dog collar. So it sounds like they've had to maybe make a bit of a compromise here, and it's been discussed at least that there could be a potential bull rope match going down here. So it's not quite around the neck, it's around the wrist, but you're still attached, and I think that's kind of where they're going there. So it's kind of, like the PG version of a dog collar match, really. Like, probably not if Cody Rhodes is involved, but I digress. And this hasn't been made official. This isn't like, this is happening. It's just one of the many ideas that have been discussed right now. So, I don't know, we're going to see what happens there. But I think this works, personally. I think Cody Rhodes just whipping that beast around the ring with a bull rope and Brock doing the same. I'm here. I'm totally here for that. I think it'd be epic.
Yeah, I love the idea of Cody Rhodes willingly wanting to strap himself to Brock Lesnar, of all people. But he definitely loves a dog collar match. He's had quite a few of them through his time, like in AEW, obviously, and all the way back to like Ring of Honor. He did that one at Supercard of Honor with Jay Lethal, I think, that was like absolutely amazing. So he knows how to pull them off, of all people, and it's something a little bit different for a Brock Lesnar match as well. Like, it's something we've not really seen. So I'm very intrigued to see what kind of levels of violence Cody Rhodes can pull out with this kind of a match with Brock Lesnar.
What I'd like is, I'd like Brock to German him out of the ring, and then he's just attached by the rope, and they'll go,
like a suplex where he throws him and then pulls the rope and like pulls him back down.
The adrenaline in myself. Oh my god.
There's a lot you can do with this. But going back over to more WWE title news, and in 2 weeks on SmackDown on June the 23rd, there is going to be a match to unify the Women's Tag Team Championships. Now this was set up last night on SmackDown because Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler were out there with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, obviously the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Baszler was basically like, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. And yeah, sort of they attacked them, and it was a whole thing. But it is boiling down to a tag team unification match to unify those belts. No idea whether they're going to change the title design again. They seem to be loving to do that at the minute after they've unified them. But it seems like those titles will also be moving around all the different brands. So I assume they'll go down to NXT for a few things, do things on Raw, do things on SmackDown. And I personally think this is probably a better bet for the women's tag team titles than anything else. Makes them feel a little bit special, at least. And with the sort of lack of like enough women's tag teams on like just a SmackDown or just a Raw or something, I think it feels like you can go and do more things with more people and just move them to where they're needed, so you can actually focus on them all the time and not get stale feuds and things like that. So I think this is a good idea going forwards. And I'm going to assume Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey is going to win this. Yeah,
it feels like a bit of a given, doesn't it? But I also like the idea of this opening the door for more main roster to NXT matches as well, because I think that's something that they're really trying to push currently. Like a lot more exposure, getting NXT just in the same kind of sentences as all these main roster talents. So if you've got those belts just crossing over onto every single brand, that's going to happen more and more, and it'll just, it makes things feel a bit more exciting. I do think if there is a unification, these are a pair of belts that could benefit from a complete shift. Maybe even just going for like a bland design that is one that's like similar to the male tag belts. I know I don't really want it, but
change. They're awful.
They do, but
they're the ones that need to change more than anything else.
But just in general, these belts need to be kind of taken away from their lineage, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? We need visually something that just feels like, okay, now we're starting. Now the game starts now. This is the real bit, okay? No, forget all the other weird stuff where we just made it up as we went along. This is the real quiz. Let's just do it now. Like that's what I feel like it needs. But yeah, maybe not exactly like the male belts, because they're not universally adored, let's say. So yeah.
They're gross. That is it. That is today's news. Thank you very much for joining us. Click this video underneath here somewhere to find out what AEW fans think about CM Punk in general. It's a video we did in Double or Nothing outside. Simon Miller talking to random AEW fans, asking them their opinion, and it's mixed, let's say. So go check that out.
Eric Bischoff's on it. He walks past.
Have yourselves a bloody good day.